Hello, it's Dana, and I apologize for any rattling you hear. That is my fan, and it is only about 100-degree index here. We're having a little heat wave. So, in my last video, I had coffee dyed a whole bunch of paper, and so now I want to mass produce some envelopes. So I already did some cutting already of this many sheets. So this is my leftovers right here. I will use this. I also have these leftovers, which might be good to stamp into little banners. Hi, Denise. These might be good to stamp words on, so I am going to set them aside for now and maybe look to see if I have little words that'll fit on those. And these will make nice maybe coin pockets or something. I don't know. Might make tuck spots out of them. But I am going to show you a very, very quick way to mass produce some envelopes. I'm innately lazy and I hate to measure. So this is what I've done. If you don't have one of these, I love this thing. And excuse the noise, my big fan just kicked down. But it comes with a little bone folder. It shows you what you're making on here, but it has this, and it comes with another paper for the sizes that are larger than this. But this is the envelope punch board by We Are Memory Keepers. It's not very much. I think it's like 11 bucks on if you get it with a coupon, or at Tuesday morning it might be around 9. Not sure. May even be less than that. I've had it for a long time, so I don't remember. But on here, I did decide I wanted to make an A2 sized envelope, which it says A2 right here. And it says to cut the paper by 8 1/8 length. So that's what I have done. I have, but to make it easy to mass produce my cutting here, look, I have all this stuff all over my desk. Excuse these little pieces of paper. You'll know why those are there in a minute. But to make this quicker, I just stuck a piece of washi tape at 8 1/8 because everything you cut is going to be right there. So unfortunately, you can't cut a couple pieces of this coffee dyed paper because it's very crispy, and you do kind of have to flatten it out with your hand in order to get a nice straight cut because it is kind of crinkly. But it doesn't have to be like exact on the money. But I do try to get it right up against that little line where I laid that washi tape down. And what you have left is that end strip because I was dyeing copy paper. Now I've got the square. So I went through and I cut a bunch of the coffee stain paper that I dyed. The next thing you do is you take all your squares. If you don't know how to use this, I'm going to show you how to use this. Let me throw all this pile of stuff away. I probably should have done this before I started, but my trash can is about full, and I have a fan under my desk. I don't want those to blow everywhere. I'll really make a mess with those little papers. Plus, I just vacuumed in here. Okay, so this is the punch board. Again, it tells you all the measurements. And what this says is when you want to make the A2 envelope, you cut your paper 8 1/8 by 8 1/8, which I have done already. And then it gives you another measurement for your score line. And it says 3 3/4. So what that means is that's going to be your first score line. That's the only measurement you need, is that very first one. So I'm left-handed, so I don't like holding that bone folder, but I have also put, as you can see, a little piece of washi tape here at 3 3/4 because every one, since I'm doing them all the same size, every one I'm going to line up there. So what you do is that's the only time you use that, the very first time you put your paper in for your first punch. After that, you don't look at that tape because you measure this. There's this little arm here, and you just put your little score line along that continuation. So you don't even have to measure after that. You just stick it. You have to be kind of careful sticking your paper under there, though, because like I said, it's kind of crinkly and wrinkly, and it can tear. It can tear up. Darn it. I got these windows opening up on my computer. I'm sorry if this kicks me off the internet. Whoops, let me put that back. For some reason, an old email I've got is trying to open. Okay, so this paper didn't quite cut perfectly. I probably need a new envelope punch board because I'm sure this little blade is getting dull, and I think that you can pop that out and change it, but I'm not sure. Okay, on my last cut, I also do something else, which I wanted to share with you. Let me grab these. And this is just because I'm mass producing envelopes. I like to take, when you do your last punch, I like to cut this off. So I know where I'm at with my last punch. I'm at the long side of my envelope. So you pick it up. That's what all those little triangles you saw laying there at the beginning of the video were. I clip off the tip of that, and then I go to the opposite end and I round this corner because I really do like the tip of the envelope cut off, just barely, just so that there's a little round piece. So I'm going to do a couple more just so you see how easy this is. If you don't have a punch board, I don't know why not. I don't know why. And when I bought this, I didn't use it for like a year. I don't know why I didn't, because it's so easy. Again, I'm going to take my paper that's already pre-cut to size. I put it along the washi tape, punch and score. Now I just line it up with this little leg, right? So it's real easy. Punch and score. Punch and score. So it's actually quite quick to make an envelope. The problem for me is these numbers are so stinking little on this thing that I cannot barely read them. You definitely need to have a magnifying glass handy if you have any trouble with your vision, because these little measurements on this punch board are tiny. So I actually have 2 more pieces that I have not cut yet. So I'm going to do those just real quick. So again, only the first time I put the paper in do I use that washi tape. After that, I just use that little arm that's sticking out to line up the score line that I've already got there to show me where to make a new score line. And then because I'm innately lazy, and later you may want those tips cut off, and I'll show you why. You know what? I probably should have showed you why. I don't know if everybody's made envelopes with the punch board. I know old school crafters have been using this forever, but I'll show you. I'll do this one. This is my last one. I'll do this one and show you. Again, I lined that up with my measurement, and you can see how quick this is. 2. This one, this paper was already torn a little bit. 3. 4. Okay, so the reason I'm cutting this tip off is when you make your envelope, I don't like that little triangle to stand up out of the envelope. I know that's weird and I shouldn't care, but my OCD says I don't like it. So every time when I get done scoring my envelope, I clip that piece off. Now also, the second thing I do is I don't like that perfect little point on there, and it tends to curl up when you get paint on it anyway, which is why I just take this little corner rounder. I don't like this corner rounder, and I can tell you this thing's kind of junk because when you squeeze it, it moves, and every once in a while you don't get a clean corner. I definitely like the corner punches that are lever punches that are straight up and down. That didn't cut very well either, did it? So I think I need a new envelope punch board, honestly, because my blade is getting dull. So that's it for that. So what you have left over is a bunch of those little corners, a pile of those little corners, and whatever corners and things you rounded off during the process of making your envelopes. So ARTYmaze in her tutorial had already coffee stained and made her envelopes when she started. So This brings me to kind of the jumping off point of where she started in her envelope series. I say series. It's one video. It's just taking me 3 to imitate it. Oh, hey! Just want to say how I can't stay at an appointment. Wanted to watch this so bad. That's okay. It's on there. It'll be on YouTube forever. Okay, so I probably cut way too many because that's how I am. I always like to have extra of stuff. So this is all the coffee stain paper I have left. I used a bunch of it for this project. So what I'm going to do now is ARTYmaze stuck with, when she did hers, she stuck with one particular color palette. And she did like a whole cool pinks and some, tans. She did pink and tan, maybe some reds and orange, purples maybe. But she stuck with a whole color palette. Me, I'm kind of going boho with mine just because, I mean, I may make each envelope one color, but in order to do the next step, I'm using several. So I'm just going to show you what she did. So the next step that she did was she took some paint. So I grabbed a few colors of paint that I just thought was pretty. Now, later, I'm going to water these down, and later I am going to use some of these napkins to decoupage on. So really, I don't have to have one particular color. This is kind of multiple shades of pinks and purples, and there's all kinds of. And then this, I don't really have a bluish purple like that, but I thought that would go watered down. And I've got this light green. I think the pink would go. I think any of these colors would go with the napkins. So I'm going to use those to do the next step. Or these paints. So the difference is in ARTYmaze, the ARTYmaze video, she already had her envelopes closed up. I don't want to do that because I find for me it's a lot harder to decoupage stuff or paint stuff and let it dry when they're closed up. So I'm going to go ahead and leave them open for this step. You can do it. She says in her video, everybody has their own process. Everybody does everything different ways. So this is just my way. So I'm going to start with this purple just because I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot of purple. So I'm going to get just a tiny bit of this purple. I know this is not a painting mat. I know. Everybody always wants to tell me that this is a cutting mat. I know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to water this down. That's probably not enough, is it? Well, I'm trying to make a pastel, but I may have to pick a larger shade of purple to do this. And my jar is about empty of water. Yeah, I think this will be okay. May not be as pastel as I'd hoped, but we'll try it. Probably need a bigger brush, don't I? Okay. So we'll do a few of these. So I'm just going to dip here and there just to get a little color on my envelope. And I want it to be kind of random, so that's it. And it looks, when this is watered down, it kind of looks gray, so I'm not sure I love that. Okay, let me see. All over here for it to dry. So I'm only going to do a few in this purple. I hope when that dries, it's prettier. I think it just kind of, I think when I watered it down, it just started to muddy it up a little bit too much. So we'll see. Okay, this is my last one that I'm doing this purple in. Oh, now, here's the danger of getting your score lines wet. This started to tear. Now I can fix that when I decoupage it. I can decoupage that back together, so it's not going to be a big deal. But unfortunately, that's kind of what happens when you get paper wet. It's more fragile. And that's with any paper, so, Okay, so that's it for the purple. I guess maybe that's why she didn't use purple in hers, because it doesn't translate very well to a watered down color. But the pink does. The pink really, I think, will look pretty. So I'm going to go through my stack of envelopes. That's probably too much color. I can always add more color. I don't want to keep adding more water, so I'm going to have to go get some more. Ooh, my paint's kind of chunky. Some of this paint is so old. Okay, hopefully that'll look pretty. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to do the front of my flap real quick just to get something on there. And then, let's see. Yeah, that'll look pretty, I think, when it dries. And there, my fan's kicking on again. So you kind of have to know where your back and your front is till you have to decide what side of your paper. Look at your paper. If you're going to do it this way, look at your paper and decide what you want the back of your envelope to be, because I'm not putting paint on both sides. I'm putting paint on the inside of the flap a little bit here so that when the envelope's folded, you can see it. But if you need to assemble your envelope first so that you know where your inside and where your outside is, I would do that. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. Okay. So let's do this color. Anything mixed with brown will be muddy. Well, it was purple. I don't have brown. I mean, I have clear water, but that's kind of a strong color. I hope that doesn't get too. Oh. I need to find a dark blue. I really. Spread this out a little bit. Yes, I'm using my hands just because I can. Ooh, that's not bad, is it? Oh, wow. That's really cool. Maybe I watered the other colors down too much. Maybe I should add more pigment and do those again. I might do those again. That's the fun thing about this is if it doesn't turn out the way you like it, you can add more. You can cover up. You can do whatever you want to do. And can't reach my little, I have a little thing to throw these on to dry, and like I've about reached my max drying space now. Yeah. I think I'm going to do one more of those because I have, even though I've done 3, I have a lot of paint left on here. So I'll try and wipe it up with this. Oh, yeah, I like that. Look at this. Yeah. Okay. All right. I have room for about 2 more envelopes on my little drawing thing. So I don't know about this green now that I've done a few colors. I think I'd like maybe a darker green. Let me see if I have. Oh, good. My cat's over there yakking up a hairball. She was saving it for my live. Let's see. I have phthalo green. Ooh, let's use this blue. Let's use a phthalo blue. This is going to stain my mat. Definitely. This is some pretty pigmented paint. So I'm gonna do it now. Okay. So okay. Put this back. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, I like it. I like that one a lot. I think I'm going to go with the darker pink maybe. I mean, I know this is just supposed to be like a little highlight. Oops, that's back in there. Yeah, whatever. This is supposed to be part of the background, and your background's normally a lighter color, but I really like it. This is phthalo blue. I love the phthalo blue and the phthalo greens. That's like, it's kind of my go-to. Anytime I'm doing anything boho, you know, I have to add that. I don't know why. I'm just obsessed with some of those bolder. My blue and green obsession is way over the top, but you know, girl, I love blue and green. All right, so here we go. This is the last one. I'm trying to mop up what I can with this. I hate to smear it. I hate to drag it because it seems to, I think it's looking better when I just dip it in the little puddles here. Ah, yes. That's nice. Very nice. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. So now I got to wash my hands. Okay, so that's it for my next step. I am going to try and find a green. I did that teal. I'm going to try and find a stronger green, I think, for the rest of my pile. And I do have quite a bit left. I think I'm going to do a bold green, a bolder pink, and maybe a bolder purple. I'm not sure. But I do think I have to wash my hands and the mat because it's left some residue. My white is all gone. So I think that's going to bleed into my next color. So I'm going to end my live here. But this is basically the next step in the envelope series of reproducing these envelopes. So I will be back with my dried envelopes for my next video. Thanks for coming by, Denise and Sue. Good to see you, ladies. Have a good day. Keep cool. Bye. Well, It says in stream, and I've clicked it. There we go.